Okay, so I am doing another voiceover on this video. This is only the second time I've done this, but I actually did this video a while back and I wanted to get more clarification because something happened with my microphone and it didn't pick up very good. So I wanted to explain in detail how I get these cuts around here. And as you can see, what I'm doing, I'm lining the boards up to where it touches. If you can see right there on that board I'm putting in right there, there's actually shims up underneath of the railing. So I can just barely get under there in most of the parts. Some of it will go under there a little bit, and then some of it is just like maybe 1/8 of an inch under. So I actually measure, put my boards there, and I measure from the outside of them, and then I'll mark it on the inside, and I do that to all 3 boards. Again, from the outside to the rail, I'll get my measurement, and then I'll come and mark it from the end of the board back on the inside of the board. Same thing with this one. It's important that you keep your tape measure straight on this one because we don't have anything to go by. So I measure there and I mark it. Now that's going to give me straight angles to where I take my little framing square and I go from the far corner, the outside corner, to my mark right there. And that's going to be the angle that I need to cut it at. This is not going to get me a perfectly curved circle. This is just getting me close enough to where I can mark my circle out perfectly. So I'll take and cut those straight off. Those will be straight cuts along with those angles, and then I will come back in and get my real precise mark on the wood to get this nicely cut, as you see right there. So now that I've got them cut at the angle that I just marked, as you can see, I still have little gaps right here around the edges, right there, and right there, and so on. That's because I just cut straight angles rather than cutting it round. The purpose of that was just to get it close enough to the rail or to the wall, whichever, that this quarter round would cover it. So this is a flexible plastic quarter round that I picked up at Lowe's. And what I do, I just use this as a template to get my circle around there perfect. I mash it up against the rail, and then I take my pencil and mark it perfectly. And what that does is just transfers the exact same circle, the exact same curve on the railing onto the wood. Now as you see that I pull it away, it's the exact same circular okay, now this is how we cut it. What I do on these big wide pieces like this, I make me a handful of cuts straight into my mark, coming from the angle part where I just cut my angle. Now I'm cutting slits all the way straight into my pencil mark that's got the curve on it, and that allows me to, after I turn it, it allows me to make that curve cut without binding my blade or bending the saw blade or anything like that, because every time I cut like 1 inch or whatever to those slices that I just cut in there, that piece of wood is going to fall off. As you can see right here, right there, now that piece is no longer pinching my blade as I slightly twist it just a little bit. Okay, so that's the purpose of putting my slits straight in to my pencil mark, just to keep it from binding up on my blade. Okay. Now this is kind of close with my fingers and stuff like that. You guys be extra careful doing that because those pieces will fly back and hit you, and plus you'll it's risky about getting your fingers. As you can see in that board that I'm cutting there, you can see the ridges on it. Well, I fine-tune that after I get this last cut. You can see the ridges where each cut went. That's because I was cutting little straight sections. After I get this piece right here cut off of it, now you can see the right hand side of my board is actually coming off, and I'm just fine tuning that cut and getting rid of all those ridges so it's a nice curve all the way around through there. You can see little pieces flying off. Those are actually just the little ridges that was left. There we go. See them little pieces flying off there? Now look at that curve. That's a nice curve right there. Now that's going to fit in there perfect. So now what I did, I went inside, I went ahead and spread my glue. I placed them all in position and put me a pencil mark there to the edge of my wood, spread my glue to those marks, and now I'm going to place my wood in the glue right where they belong. I got them laid out like they was. Now if you'll notice right here, whenever you put wood in glue, you don't want to put it down and pull it to you. You actually want to get it as close as you possibly can to the existing floor, and then set it down in there and push it tight. If you set it way out and drag it into the wood, you're going to smash up a bunch of glue, and you're going to have glue all over the top of your wood, which obviously you don't want. Look how nice those curve cuts fit in there. Again, some of them will go underneath there a little bit, but yet at the same time some of them would only go like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch because of the shim. There was actually carpet down right here, so they had the carpet worked right to that, and I pulled it out, and I was really happy to see that it was raised up just a little bit. It was actually perfect. Look at this one right here, that wide board. That's a nice fit right there. You can see it just went under there just enough. So that worked out really well, having it barely raised up like that. But if you didn't have it raised up like that, I mean, you could still get some very accurate cuts. Like I said a while ago, a lot of them I could not get underneath there all the way. So before I tape the boards together, which keeps them from sliding around on the glue, because if you step on that right now, your boards are going to slide around and separate and stuff. So I'm just taking a tapping block. It's just a scrap piece of wood, and I put the tongue in the groove side right there. What I did with my finger, I'm just making sure it was all nice and straight, because there's actually carpet going to be buttoned up to the right hand side of that wood. As I put my tape on there, I actually stick it down there really tight on the wood, and I stretch it. I mean, I stretch it as tight as I can as I'm pushing all the way up until it reaches the next part that's taped, because the part that's taped already is already stuck all the way out there to the stair nosing, which is nailed down. So that's going to prevent the boards that I'm putting down right now from separating or sliding apart, because I'm taping it to some existing floor that's already taped down to something that's nailed down. This is a little different for me, doing the sound overs or voiceovers. I'm used to doing it as I'm working, so I hope I made this clear enough for you. Again, I'm stretching that tape really tight as I'm pushing. Notice my left hand, I'm pushing down and pushing forward on the wood. There we go.